Okay, what up? And welcome to this quick mini training on how to grow your business with a team that you can trust without becoming the bottleneck so you can generate revenue consistently and feel clear and supported. This is not about a hiring issue like you have been told. All right. For those that don't know, I am Jay Jackson. I'm the founder of the Leverage Alliance, where I help agency owners and service professionals generate revenue through repeatable systems, teamwork, and operations. I built a system that took me from working 18-hour days to just 5 hours a day, and I've helped my clients take back time while earning consistent 10K plus months. And if you want to grow without nitpicking or fixing everything on your own, subscribe to the channel. All right. So there is a belief that turns leaders into bottlenecks. And that is that most agency owners and service pros believe that they need to hire more people and ops will just sort itself out. And I totally get it, because there have been moments where I figured if I just hired someone who said they knew how to do this job, it would work itself out, because I wouldn't have to get in there and build it or create it or fix it, whatever the case may be. And so there was a time when I thought that made sense, because you assume that the people you hire will figure things out once they're inside your business. But here's something that I don't think a lot of us really fully understand, is that belief turns you into a backup for everything, right? If you've seen that Progressive commercial where Danny, or I think it's Tommy DeVito, the family is taking photos and the mom is trying to get one kid to smile a specific way or pose a specific way, and they come in and they put the backup that Tommy DeVito in so that Tommy could pose, and he's doing all the fancy poses and now leading everything. That is not what you want to be in your business. You want people who are leading, so that you can be the CEO, oversee the operations, and make sure everybody's running the right plays and getting in the right place where they need to be. So you being the backup and believing that hiring more people and your ops will just sort itself out, it causes drift across your team. I use the analogy of a boat that leaves and sets sail from the harbor with no direction, right? No set of the sail. They're just drifting out into the lake or the ocean, because there is no clarity. It creates fog around accountability and who's responsible, right? So if you don't have clear SOPs, if you don't have clarity around who's responsible and you're constantly stepping in, the team member can easily say, nope, you stepped in and you did it when this particular thing happened, or you stepped in and you were responsible for the outcome when that particular thing happened. Whereas if you step back and allow your team to work through it, and you give them SOPs, accountability standards, and you give them the proper structure, everybody knows exactly who's responsible for what. All right, and then it pulls you back in to fix things, which leads to stalled growth, friction, and doubt. So if talent alone built strong operations, you wouldn't get dragged back into daily fires. The fact that you are should be a sign that something is wrong. And if this sounds familiar, it's because your beliefs are keeping you stuck. And I want you to know that there's a different way. So here's the shift that separates leaders from firefighters. Teamwork doesn't fail because of people. It fails because your operations lack structure and focus. And so you have to shift your perspective and shift your role. And this is something that a lot of business owners avoid. Now, to reach your next level, your job is no longer to be the best fixer. Your job is to build a system that fixes issues without you. So it's like asking a sports team to win without having any plays. Like, everybody's talented, everybody is skilled, everybody's going to give their best effort, but without plays, you can't orchestrate, or you can't create opportunities for your players to score points. So here's how it clicked for me, like when I finally had an opportunity or made the decision to actually step back and step out of the way. When things were broke, I used to jump all the way in. My team, they would be working hard, but then things would always come back to me. But then once we got clear on roles, and I got this from strategic coach Dan Sullivan and those guys, it's called an impact filter. And it allows you to get your vision for a particular project out of your head onto paper, hire the right people, and then they take this impact filter and they're clear on their roles, they're clear on decision making, they're clear on how they can operate without you. So there's a rule that smart business owners live by, and that is if work needs your okay more than your setup or more than your structure, then that means your operations are lacking something. Right. So if teamwork alone fixed operations, growth would feel light and not heavy. And the fact that it doesn't feel light, it shows you that something is missing. Most business owners thinks that ops slows their teams down, but what if your the operations and the structure and the system is actually what frees your team to be able to move a whole lot faster? All right, so I'm going to share a couple of stories. One of the stories is mine, just so that you can see how you don't have to be the bottleneck. You don't have to micromanage things. And I'm going to show you how to be able to move the needle forward without having to push, right? So leaders are out front, right? Leaders are the ones saying, hey, let's pull it across the finish line. You're not in the back pushing people, cracking the whip. So when I stopped being the glue and started building, like clear rhythm, clear structure, clear systems, our output went up, but my workload went down. And so that's what you want to do. You want to still be able to get output, still produce output, still get high levels of quantity and quality of results, but you want your effort to be a lot lower than it was when you first started things. One of my clients moved from daily Slack conversations to steady output by creating ownership and workflows. So basically, within your project management software, again, you want to know how does the work flow, and you want to diagram it, not just document it. Because when there's a diagram, some people are visual learners. And so whenever there's a diagram, your team members can go, oh, okay, when a lead comes in from a Facebook ad, they land on this landing page. Once they opt in for the lead magnet, they go into this automated workflow. They receive this series of emails and text messages. And then from there, they book a call. Once they book a call, they're moved to this workflow. And then once they're in that workflow, they receive a series of emails and text messages. And then ultimately, they show up on a call or at an event. And then when the event is executed, these are the series of steps that are taken during the event, or these are the series of steps that are taken during the call. And you want to have that entire workflow mapped out visually and on document so that your team can go in and see what's going on. Another client pulled out of day-to-day calls by setting clear SOPs for how their work flows, right? And so when you have your sales process documented, whether it's for a setter or for a closer, that setter or that closer can step into your business and they will follow the exact standard operating procedures that you have given them, because you yourself, you've been through that process multiple times, hundreds of times, if not 1,000 times. And so you know that this process works. And so you give that to your team members and they're able to come in and execute, right? So teams don't rely on hero leaders. You can see this in every strong company. They rely on operations that keep things in order. And I know a lot of folks out there like to tell you like, oh, we just grind, right? A lot of motivational speakers talk about, we just grind. We don't worry about structure. Well, let me explain something to you. If you grind anything for too long, if it's a pencil, if it's chalk, if it's a piece of wood, it doesn't matter. Even metal, right? It's going to create friction. And what you need instead is structure, which creates focus. And so you already expect this type of focus when you're sending out invoices. You want there to be structure around getting paid by your clients. When it comes to results or even due dates, you know that there has to be clear communication and structure around when you want something specifically to be done or what type of result that you want. And the the only way that that is going to happen is if you're not micromanaging or being the bottleneck. You have to step out of the way, and then you have to have discipline to stay out of the way. Otherwise, if you just jump in and fix things, then guess what? Your team doesn't think, they definitely don't think critically. They don't figure out how to be problem solvers. And so you're jumping in to save the day and being the superhero. And then they can never become the superhero or the leader that you need them to grow to become so that you can take your company to the next level. All right. So what it feels like when your team is actually running things, right? So when ops are in place, there's like a subtle shift that happens. Your calendar opens up, decisions are made on their own, and growth feels steady and efficient. That's how you lead instead of carrying the load. And so if you want a team that works without your constant watching or your constant oversight, first, you can grab my book via the link down in the description. It's titled Work Less to Profit More, the underground playbook for turning your business into a machine that can grow without you. But if you know that you're ready right now to install a proven system, structure, and operations that let your team run your business without you right now today, there's also a link down in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching it on a landing page, there's going to be a button below this video. Click that link, click that button, share a little bit of information with us about where you are, where you're trying to get to, and what you believe is keeping you from getting the outcome and the result that you want. Again, there's no cost for you to schedule this call. There's no obligation for you to work with us after the call. I genuinely just want to serve you. I want to help you. I want to help you solve this problem. If we're a great fit, that's great. If we're not a great fit, I can make a recommendation to someone who is a great fit to work with you. You get to keep the strategy session, any bonuses or gifts that we've provided to you in advance, because ultimately we just want to solve this problem for business owners, because I know and understand how painful it is to always be in the weeds of your business and not be in a position to where you can step back and let your automations and your team run your business so you have more free time to focus on strategic planning, partnerships, collaborations. Like, you don't have to stay stuck as an employee in your own business. And so if you want help, book that call. Otherwise, you can drop a comment down in the comment section to let me know what you thought about this video. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.